United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everyone. It appears that this evening's meeting is probably going to be a little short. We don't have much on the agenda. We have a COVID-19 update to address, old and new business, and then we do have a short non-public session.
Reminder, the farmers market starts this Saturday.
Yeah, I saw in this morning's newspaper, there's a little blurb on it, so
Yep.
hopefully, and for those of you that don't know, it is held at the town office parking lot. So, and that's 9 to 12.
Correct.
That's right through, every Saturday through to October. correct?
Every
Every
Sat-
other
Well,
Saturday.
no, every Saturday this year.
Every Saturday this
Oh.
year?
Yeah, the vendors wanted to go every Saturday, so
Okay.
they're gonna give it a shot anyways and see. Seems to be the flux with that, and then they'll get tired out, and then next year we'll go to every other again.
And when did you say they'll stop?
Into October. Like, depends on when the weather starts to really start to change. So sometimes it's, at the end of September, or if we can push into mid-October,
Okay. Any other new business, public announcements? Scott, you want to give us the update and see we can discuss the Green Center?
So the most recent emergency order from the governor basically is extending some or all portions of the original emergency order number 17, which was really the stay-at-home order for the short explanation. And obviously that was modified a while back as they allowed some other businesses like restaurants to start to open up. But essentially most of that stay-at-home order is still in place, which means no gatherings of 10 or more people, and all the precautions for businesses that stay, that are allowed to stay open, that are considered essential or are part of the reopening plan. And all of that's been extended to June 15th right now. So that's kind of a smaller extension than we've seen from the governor in the past, so maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel on a lot of this. We'll have to see how things evolve. But the bulk of the stay-at-home order is still in effect. And then I think all of you may have received an email, the Green Center reopening proposal. And I've tentatively put them on the agenda for 2 weeks from tonight, which might work well if the governor decides to lift his order up after the 15th. We might be able to have a different discussion with them than we can have right now. But I'm not sure if you want to get into it a little bit tonight, or you want to wait until we get together with them and have more time to kind of contemplate what you'd like to see if they do reopen.
From my perspective, from our last meeting, what I thought was that they would present a detailed plan for how they were proposing to open up the Green Center based on the criteria set forth by the state, which references back to the CDC.
Right.
I saw the attachment that came with Ms. Somero's explanation of what they would be doing. However, I thought it would have been more detailed to say how they were doing it. Like, we've got a volunteer that will be, counting people as they go in so that we don't have so many people inside the building, or where the controlling of items going in and out. So I think, if gentlemen agree, is maybe since we have that letter, if there are items that you may have seen on there that you want to have a concern, so that when they do come in, we have a complete, we should have a complete plan.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think if they come in and we have concerns that are already in place, then could delay them. And I don't want to delay it if we can let them open.
Yeah, I mean, I guess my thing right now is, I'm not sure where they came up with the 50% capacity as it being non-essential. They should be at the 10 or under, including the volunteers that are there. So, if someone is, the only exception be is if they're checking people outside, then the person outside wouldn't count the 10. But if they've got volunteers inside, that would be included in the 10 that are allowed in the building, at least through the, under the current orders, unless that changes on the 15th. I'm not too worried about the items being donated, as long as there are some sort of, I would like to see some sort of time frame they have of those items being aired out, minimum, before they're put in there. I wouldn't want those items coming in on a Friday, boxed up, put on a shelf for Saturday. I think there should be some sort of overlay time where that is not free to the public, where, and then just the 6 foot distance that needs to be upheld right now as well. So, I mean, those are, and then the other issue we have now is that if the farmer's market is not going every other Saturday, then we have the issue of multiple events happening in the parking lot at the same time.
Unless they do something afternoon
Right. Yeah, so if they open up later in the day.
and do an afternoon cycle this year instead of a morning cycle.
And I've had a couple of follow-up communications with Tina about this stuff, and they're very flexible. Like, she just wants to find any way possible in order to open it. She had said things like they weren't opposed to bringing some of the goods outside and then bringing them back in. And just throwing ideas out there, like any way that they can open it, they're willing to make it happen. They're a very motivated group of people, and they believe in what they're doing, like, for the town. And I know it doesn't fall under the essential list for the state because there's no food involved with it. But that's where the 50% capacity came in, was like as if it was a retail location or a bigger store. Those are the guidelines that they're under, is the 50% capacity.
But I mean, I would also recommend, I understand they're saying face masks are optional, but that is something that we can make mandatory. The person has to provide their own mask and wear it. If they can't provide that, then we can restrict access, as well as I would also, look at restricting it to adults only. I don't think people need to go in there with their kids, because then all of a sudden it's very much harder to restrict that 6 foot access, whether it be inside, outside, or any other point.
Right. Yeah, my concern on the 50% capacity, in larger retail stores, they have nice wide aisles, so 50% capacity, works in an environment like that. I'm not sure that a 50% capacity, and I'm not sure what the fire chief has that space rated at as far as total number. But with the tight quarters in there, I think that you know, keeping the total number of people, you know, under 10 is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
I don't know how big it is, that's why, and that's what the question I was gonna
Yeah.
ask is, what is the capacity of the building? And I'm sure
Yeah.
it is a code requirement, but again, if it's something that they have the flexibility, if they need to make sure there's easier access in and out, I like the idea of just adults, leave the kids at home
Yep.
and not worry about it.
Which is similar to the grocery stores, you know,
Yeah.
unless people with infants, like a lot of people are leaving their kids at home, just to reduce.
But it's not required, is it?
I think
It's
some
a-
grocery stores have
Do
said,
they?
I believe Aldi said, one person, one cart, that's it, you don't bring your kids in. So you just have to plan your shopping accordingly.
Mhm.
And I think especially in an area like that has such tight quarters, or if they end up, you know, expanding out into the parking lot, I still don't think it's an area that necessarily needs children.
Yeah, and I'd be concerned is, you know, even if they try and go out to the parking lot, one is safety of vehicles going by,
Mm-hmm.
for one. But two is, you know, to see they should have a plan to say, okay, this is how many tables we're gonna have set up, this is the route that they're gonna be able to go and leave. And if they can come back with those items there addressed in details, hey, we've got X amount of volunteers, one's gonna be doing this, 3 are gonna be doing this, that is focused just on coordinating access, let's call it,
Okay.
that would be good. That
Alright.
would be good.
Yeah, and then as far as the waiting period, one thing that she agreed with, because I said, well, could you hold on to the goods that you receive on Friday instead of turning them over, you know, like in one day on Friday, just hold on to them till the next open day. And she said, yeah, absolutely. So there's a lot of, like, they're willing to be flexible and find a way to make it happen. She did say that they've been cleaning it out, shifting things, and so it looks different than in years past too down there already.
Good.
So it might even be worth taking a walk down there and with them just to kind of see what they're.
We can, but I trust that if they're giving us a plan, that's what they're gonna go with.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
Yeah, I would have to hope that they wouldn't give us a plan and then do something different inside.
No, I don't think they would, but
Right.
I know I haven't been over there in 3 or 5 years.
Right,
and,
that's it. I've been there
That's
in
about
quite
it.
a while.
Yeah. So
But I've got 8 boxes sitting in my kitchen, dying for them to open.
which is one concern because there's a lot of people waiting to donate goods
Yeah.
to them. So they are concerned about like being swamped initially with taking in new products and donations. So
All right, I'll wait.
and that's on their minds. Yeah, wait a couple weeks.
Alright, so I'll let them know they're on the agenda for the 16th and
Could you relay to them the items that we just spoke about to be sure that they've incorporated them
Yep.
into their plan?
that I will do.
So that when they do come in, we can look at it, make a decision, and
Yeah.
Okay,
let them go.
Yep.
Good,
I will get that to them.
thank you.
And that's really all I had for COVID-related stuff tonight. I mean, luckily things seem to be winding down, and that's a good thing as far as I'm concerned.
I've
No more 45-page documents coming at me.
yeah.
Give it a day.
Yeah.
Oh, one last thing.
Okay.
One of the things that I thought would be good, if I'm sure you received it, that would help the folks at the Green Center, was that email we received from the Souhegan Chamber of Commerce, and they had that business guideline practices. When I saw that, I said, boy, this is what they should be looking at.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not sure I
Did you,
got that.
I'll try and find it in my deleted email.
Yeah, I mean, I'll look through my email too, but I
Yeah,
don't.
it
I
just
don't read-
came in, I want to say Thursday or Friday.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
recent?
Yeah,
I'll
it was
go back
recent.
through my email.
Yeah.
So I received a call from Doug Nichols, who's heading up the baseball league. I guess they had a phone call with the task force for the state, like for the baseball in general. And the task force opinion is that under certain guidelines, so they have a whole laundry list of things that they need to meet requirements. They should be able to play or have some type of form of the baseball league by July 1st. So he just wanted me to bring it up to you guys tonight, and let you know that they're gonna ask to use the field at Memorial Park, and they are gonna be prepared to come in and show what all the state guidelines are for like baseball specifically.
Which baseball league?
So that's like the Little League in town. The Mount
And what makes
Monadnock.
him say that? Because if I read the last executive order, I think even camps are still not approved to open.
Day camps are approved, and that's and the guidelines are ridiculously strict. So I don't see how, and I've seen nothing as far as recreation. It's been one-on-one coaching, like training, but not even group sports training is from what I've seen.
On the phone, he started to list off. I was in the middle of working too, and but he started to get into more detail with me, and I said, "Look, like I need this all like in a package, and you send it over so that we can like read and go through everything ahead of time and have some back and forth with you guys, and just to check everything out." So ideally, they would like to use that, like the field down there, because they put a lot of work into it. But at the end of the day, if they have to, they'll use other facilities that are available to them too. But he doesn't see why, if they're allowed to use those other facilities under certain guidelines, why they wouldn't be able to use the field down at Memorial Park as well.
I would say until the state clears it.
Yeah.
And that's what he's saying, that they have, and they have specific information from the state that in guidelines.
Who's they?
The league, the baseball league.
And did he forward that to you?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Yeah. So I was just letting you guys know
Yeah,
in the
no,
meeting
that's
that
great.
that's
Yep.
coming. Yep.
I realized last week after we sat and talked and everything about the roads, we never officially voted to award the bid.
Right, it's in my old and new business
So
stack here.
I would like to make a motion to officially award the road bid to Atlas Paving. Wasn't it?
Was it?
That
was
was
Yeah,
Allstate.
yeah.
Awesome.
Allstate. I knew it started with an A. Same letters, just
That's it. Like,
just move them around a little bit.
like you're getting to a fireworks
Ah.
display.
Yeah.
Further discussion?
Okay.
I thought there was something on there that we were waiting for.
We were-
Here it is, yeah. Reviewed revised payment cost of the LC and please do not match. Scott will review with Peter tomorrow. If the savings shown are correct, then we should consider doing the end of Public Pond Road. So what did we find out?
So, Peter is of the opinion that his numbers at 585 are closer than the numbers that we came up with last week. I think ours were
565.
So, and
Did he
he's
say
gonna-
how he did the math?
Well, what he's basing his on not necessarily hard math, but his instincts on how these projects go.
Okay.
And he's concerned that it's gonna take, even at 585, that by the time things are all said and done, he's gonna still be challenged to keep it under 600.
Well, I think if we're using hard numbers, which is what we should be doing,
Yeah,
that's what the award should be based on. And my recommendation would be that Peter schedule with them, or even put it as part of the purchase order, is that the paving on Hubbard Pond Road be done last, so that we can determine at that time how much money we've paid on Binney Hill and Lower Ashby to determine how far we can go on Hubbard Pond. Rather than doing that first and finding out that when we're done doing, say, Lower Ashby, yeah, we could have done more on Hubbard Pond.
I'm fine
Okay.
with that.
Yeah, makes sense.
Because then, worst case, at least we already have the culverts replaced on Hubbard Pond that need to be replaced. We've done, you know, whatever else. We've done all the prep work up to them
Mhm.
getting there. So even if we can't go
Yeah.
all the way down, then we can add that on to next year.
And I'm not, well, we were talking about just then, I believe that starts going uphill again. I'm not sure that I would want to take funding next year to go and pave. I was looking at that today.
Yeah.
I think there were 4 houses past the intersection. So,
Yeah.
if we didn't, we don't, but if we.
Well, I just meant like even if, you know, even if something happens over in Binney, we don't make it all the way to Pine, you know, that kind of thing. So, you know, then we could at least,
Well, I'm thinking, because we said we were just going to top, I mean, just going to base
right, base.
Hubbard Pond. So
Mhm.
yes, next year if we wanted to base the balance and then top it,
Right.
I understand.
But I just figured at least that way, you know, no matter, we wouldn't then be asking them to go out and do culverts next year. That'd already be done this year. So.
Okay, so can you modify your motion,
Yes.
please?
So motion to award the road bid to Allstate Paving. Making sure that we do Hubbard Pond last so that we can allocate our money to the best of our ability within the $600,000 budget.
And that we should issue,
Yep,
and issue the purchase order for the hard number figure. I think it was 565 and change. You have that number? I
I do.
emailed you that sheet.
Yep, no, I have
Yeah.
it. So you want to base it on the hard number as opposed to price per ton?
No, let me rephrase. It is based on price per ton.
Yeah.
And based on the price per ton, we write the purchase order for the 565. And then if we need additional paving, we know we have 35,000 yet to
Right.
use.
Okay.
yeah, the 565 is real numbers, not gut instinct.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well, the way Peter explained it to me is that when he did his numbers originally, everything was based on a 24-foot wide road. So he took the length times 24. Hubbard Pond, you'd be lucky if you're 20 feet. And that's why he's saying, I know in my numbers we've got enough. He said, now I didn't take into account, you know, the aprons at the driveways or, you know, the 30-foot at the intersection.
Right.
So if he was confident in that, I wouldn't recommend we issue a purchase order for even a greater number. But we still have the ability to say, hey, if we need to increase this purchase order, here's the unit cost.
okay,
Would that make sense?
it can work either way. So if that's the way you want to do it, we can do it that way.
Yeah, I like that
Yeah.
approach better.
Yeah.
Like the lower number and then like
Yeah.
having the flexibility instead of, you know, committing to something higher and then finding out that it's even more.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's my
yeah.
concern.
Yeah.
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 Is there a second?
A second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
you wanna sign off on this now, or do you wanna come in sometime when Debbie can notarize it while you're here? This is just the award sheet.
Does it need to be notarized?
It does need to be notarized,
Will
so
she believe us if we sign our name?
I think so. Yeah, it just needs to be signed by you, David.
Okay.
While you're doing that, just kind of something I brought up to the select board. So tax bills went out this week, and I just next year, remember, as we're sitting there at deliberative sessions and budget sessions, make sure you take a good hard look at the tax calculation portion of your tax bill, and just notice how different the municipal section is compared to the school section of your tax bill. So when we're fighting to try to fund programs in town, just keep that strongly in mind. I will.
Motion for non-public.
Motion to go into non-public under RSA 91A3, consideration of selling town property.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?